Hello and welcome to the Pedders Suspension and Breaks Outer East Football Netball Show, brought to you by Gameface. I'm Adam Miller, and once again alongside me in this studio is Steph Barkers. Good afternoon, Steph.
Good afternoon, Aidan. It was a round of very mixed and surprising results last weekend.
Most certainly.
And I am very interested to see how things play out this weekend as well as we head into round 4.
Plenty more interesting action coming up in the Outer East this week. Coming up, we'll bring you all the latest news across our competition.
Ones to Watch is back, of course. We're going to highlight some more top performers for the season so far.
The Match of the Round preview for this week's Match of the Round between Wandin and Millgrove and Seville.
So many special guests. In the studio today, we have junior umpire coaches Georgia and Taylah Preistley, who are with us to celebrate Community Umpiring Week.
We've also got one of Woori young guns in Hunter Ryan, who came in to have a chat with us as well.
Plus interviews with Wandin's A-grade playing coach Ruby Tidd prior to their win over Monbulk on the weekend, and a post-match chat with Wandin's Aaron Mullett after a 10-goal haul.
And of course, a huge thank you to Pedders Suspension and Breaks, our partner for the Outer East Football Netball Show in season 2025.
Let's jump straight into some news. First and foremost, I, of course, do want to highlight we have some different trophies on our desk this week, thanks to Ultimate Awards All Trophies. Make sure you check them out and reach out to Mary to see how they can help you. The details are below.
The Yale women's team had their first win in the Anzac round just gone. It was absolutely fantastic to see a new team get their first win on the board.
Absolutely. We'd also like to say a huge congratulations to Grace Bellany. Of course, she's a former Alinda Ferny Creek footballer. She made her VFLW debut on the weekend after she was drafted to Essendon earlier in the year. She had 15 disposals, 2 goals and 8 contested possessions. So with a performance like that, I would expect she would debut in the AFLW later this season, and I'm so excited for her.
Yeah, progression's incredible, Steph. It feels like it was only yesterday we were calling her in that grand final that they won. Yeah. She got the best on ground. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. So, yeah, congratulations, Grace, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye on her journey moving forward.
Don't forget as well, it's Community Umpiring Week this week, so we want to say a huge thank you to all our football and netball umpires for their efforts. You're all legends of our game. We can't play the game without you, so thank you so much for your contribution to our competition.
Absolutely. And of course, if you aren't already, I know most people are now, the followers have been on the steady incline, which is lovely. It's lovely to see, I won't lie. But if you're not, make sure you jump onto Instagram and follow at Outer East Football Netball. There's so much content. I can't even tell you guys. There is so much content scheduled in the back end. All the best of the media day stuff that no one's seen yet. It's going exclusively on Instagram. So make sure you're following it or you'll miss out. We're going to jump straight into Ones to Watch. For this week, I wanted to talk about Perry Reid from Monbulk. I put her in my fantasy team last week. There's a reason for that because Aiden, Monbulk lost on the weekend.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
But Perry still shot 36 goals. And just by way of comparison, Amalia Blake from Wandin shot 39 goals. So as a losing side, she really was not that far behind Wandin's leading goal shooter on the day. She's absolutely incredible. She is still the leading goal shooter in Premier Division after the last 3 rounds. She's got 139 goals so far. She is so hard to stop and has been super prolific for Monbulk early on this season. So she's definitely my one to keep an eye on.
No, most certainly. The next one we're going to take a look at, it was pretty hard to go past Aaron Mullett after 10 goals on the weekend. He's now currently the leading goal kicker in Premier Division after round 3, and that's with 26 goals across 3 games. Of course, he kicked 9 against Mount Evelyn in round 1. He kicked 7 against Woori Yallock in round 2. He's just having an unbelievable season. It's just ridiculous. He ranks first in Premier Division for marks inside 50 and first for score involvements with an average of 16 per match so far. 16.
Unbelievable start from Aaron to this season, and definitely someone that we're going to be keeping an eye on, and other teams should be keeping an eye on if they're not already after this start. Last but not least, I wanted to highlight Kiara Simmons. She is the captain of Mount Evelyn. It was her first game on the weekend because Mount Ev had a bye in round 1 and then Kiara missed out on round 2. She is captain of the side. She's a super strong leader on the field. I thought she was really impressive with her leading for the ball. She played on half forward flank and kicked 3 goals on the weekend. So for her first outing in our competition, thought she was amazing and definitely one to keep an eye on. Over to the Yarra Valley Water Juniors Corner now for an update on our junior competitions. Our junior player of the week from round 3 was Bailey from Upwey Tacoma. Bailey played a great game. He showed great teamwork throughout. He brought multiple of his teammates into the game, which is always amazing, whilst using his skills to a high standard. And I must say his second and third efforts in contests were very impressive, only in under 13s. So to even think to, second, third efforts for such a young age, I thought was really impressive. So Well done, Bailey. Great game.
Fantastic stuff. And also well done to our junior umpires, Lily, Nikki, Lucy, Quinn, Gus, Tyler, Chase and Alex, who officiated NAB AFL Auskick grid games at Marvel Stadium on Sunday. You did an amazing job and we're very proud of you.
So awesome. And they do get the opportunity to do that again later this year, which is amazing. So, yeah, very exciting for our junior umpires.
Modern day rivals. In 2024, the Blues and the Boroughs battled each other again and again, leaving it all on the line through blood, sweat and tears. But now it's time to turn the page. This year, Seville and Warburton Millgrove will be driven by opportunity. And this week is a grand final rematch. There's no margin for error between these two clubs, and there's old scores to settle. But in 2025, there is a whole new story to write. It's the Rochford Match of the Round.
Match of the round preview. But before we get into this week, which is Seville versus Warburton Millgrove, so excited for this one. I want to reflect on our tips from last week. Once again, both correct over here. It's fine. It's fine. I only got the football correct, so I only got one again. I was pretty surprised. I think we probably both thought that Wandin was going to be, at the very least, in the netball, was going to be closer than it was.
Yeah, no, certainly. And it was a pretty tight contest for a lot of the first quarter. I think it was only about 2 or 3 goals that separated the two teams. And then, Wandin really kind of took the game away from there. And a lot of their new players really stood up. I was really impressed by the game of Ella Tweedale. She came in a goal shooter. Usually the two mainstays are Lauren Spinks and Amalia Blake, who you mentioned earlier in the show. But Ella was really quite impressive. Claudia Semmels did a really good job running through the mid-court, as did Danny Brown. So really good to see, a lot of those younger players for Wandin really coming through, because they have had a few changes this season. So if they want to stay in contention, it's really important that they step up, and they were able to do that.
Absolutely. And we both did pick Wandin in the football. I just think they're going to be so hard to beat. That rotation through the midfield, it seems to be tripping a lot of other teams up, because, I feel like the other side gets used to the midfield group and they just switch it out on them, and it kind of starts the chaos all over again.
No, exactly right, Steph. We're seeing obviously Cody Hurst runs through there, Paddy Brazizi, both the Black brothers. We're seeing more of Todd Garner run through there, Joel Garner run through there. The list really goes on. Even Jordan Jaworski's having a run through the middle. They're all great players, and that's what makes this Wandin side so dangerous, is because anyone really can play anywhere. We spoke with Chase and Caden about the importance of these secondary positions. If someone goes down injured, it hasn't happened to them yet, fortunately, but if it does happen, it's not really going to be much of a problem for them.
And it was, depth.
Again, speaking of young players, so impressive to see Lockie Alderman come into the side and kick 3 goals. And gee, did he look at home in senior football just in general? Yeah,
absolutely. So Lockie, of course, played under 16s and 18s last season, a mix of both of those. He was our league best and fairest in under 16s, and you're right, he came in and he did not look out of place at all. Very impressive for such a young player. So yes, I'm not sure who's going to stop them. I'm not sure who's going to beat them, but wow, there's a big job to be done there.
No, most certainly, Steph.
Okay, let's jump into Seville versus Warburton Millgrove. This is our one grand final replay from last year.
It is.
Obviously due to Nari Warren leaving the competition and a few other changes with Hillsville going up. This is, the A grade's our only grand final rematch. So, and wasn't it an incredible grand final? I'm so excited for this matchup to happen again.
No, one of the best grand finals I've ever seen. The A grade netball often tends to deliver. I've seen 4 grand finals have been decided by 1 goal, 2 of those going to extra time, and that was one of these. So I might actually go with the netball first up on this occasion, because as you mentioned, the last time these two sides played was in that grand final. The final score 43-42 in extra time, with Bianca Daniels scoring the match-winning goal pretty much on the siren. It felt like there was a moment where the ball was bobbling on the ring and the ball dropped in, and there was silence, and then there was a massive eruption of noise. It was just unbelievable. And both teams are currently undefeated coming into this game as well, which just makes it even more interesting. We're going to see plenty of big matchups as well. We're going to see down both ends. Louisa Suleimani's going to have to try and do the job on Bianca Daniels. That's always a really tough job. Down the other end, I imagine Ali Langdon, Indy Pinnock are probably going to tag team the job on Olivia Ray. That's always really important. And then a really big job as well, in particular for Taylor Moschetti and, of course, Jessie Hare trying to contain that Seville mid-court, because that Seville mid-court has got so much depth. We're talking Emily Wicks, Cleo Mini, Genesis Foster-Johnson, who's having a breakout season. She's already made the team of the week twice, currently with the Northeast Blaze as well. And one interesting one, Ashlyn Elliott. This is going to be her first game against her old side, and she's also going to be a part of that mid-court. So really interesting matchup to look forward to.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. All right, let's jump over to the footy now. And these guys have had a few good battles last season as well. So this should be a fairly close one too, I think.
And, well, of course, they played off in last year's preliminary final. That was the last time they played, and Warby, of course, won that game by 14 points. Pretty tight game. It was 7-8-50, defeating Seville's 4-12-36. Just like the netball, both teams undefeated coming into it, and Warby particularly coming off a massive win by 238 points over Yarra Junction. They're going to be full of confidence.
Yeah.
Some of the key players, Tom Baker, well, for Warburton and Milgrove in their midfield, he's averaging 40 disposals this season, Steph. We thought Aramalla kicking 26 goals, incredible. Averaging 40 disposals is ridiculous.
Oh, that's incredible, isn't it?
And then Paddy Hoon has obviously come back this season. He's averaging 33 disposals. For the Seville midfield, Jai Scortano's averaging 29 disposals a game. Justin Miles currently averaging 30. So plenty of major ball winners across the park. So both teams are going to have to put plenty of attention into those players. Then down both ends, I reckon Sean Anderwees is going to have to try and do the job on Nathan O'Keefe. That's always a real big one. And Jack Nolan might have to look after Liam Westlake. It's a little bit different with the Warby forward line. There's no particular standouts. They've got so many good players in that forward line. A lot of good young players, because you could also look at Bailey Humphrey, Jake Upton, who's come into that side this year as well. But I'm looking at maybe Jack Nolan and Liam Westlake for the moment.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Well, this may be our hardest tips yet. I think I'm going to struggle to split the netball, but who are you going to go with?
I might go Seville on this occasion.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Do you know, I don't want to feel like I'm copying you, but I feel like I'm going to go Seville as well.
Yep. Well, it's 2 from 2 last year. I think Warby got him round 1, Seville got him midway through the year, then they got him in the semi, and then obviously Warby got him in the grand final. But I'm just feeling Seville at the moment. I look a little bit more settled. Pretty similar team to last year, whereas Warby, there's a few changes. That's my thinking.
I think too, as well, Genesis, both the Ray sisters did mention at Media Day when we asked who do you think is your most underrated player, they both said her at the exact same time without thinking about it. So, it's nice to see her get some recognition, and I do think she's having a stellar year. I think she might be the difference.
Yeah, no, most certainly.
All right, let's go over to the footy. Who are you going to go with there?
I'm going to go the other side for footy. I think I actually might go Warby for this one, really liking the start they've had to this season. So I think I'm going to back them in. I
think I'm going to go Seville again.
Yep, all right.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Seville.
Yep.
It's tough. Both these games are really, really tough to split, to be honest. It really is a flip of the coin for me. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with Seville, but I think these two will have some great battles across this season. It could go either way.
Definitely.
Both games.
I think, I agree with you 100%. They'll definitely continue the trend from 2024 for sure. This week, our exclusive local footy hub match will be available to all the local footy hub subscribers, and that game will be played between Powelltown and Alexandra.
Since 1950, Pedders have understood that every customer's journey is different, but our solution remains the same, to get you where you want to go as safely as possible. We believe it's not just the destination that matters, but also the journey, and we are committed to creating better journeys for everyone.
First special guest that we spoke to over the weekend was Wandin's playing coach, Ruby Tidd.
Well, I'm joined by Wandin's playing coach, Ruby Tidd, ahead of their round 3 clash against Monbulk. And Ruby, what are some of the things that you're looking out for in today's game?
Definitely the main goal shooting post, Perry. It's always a tough gig against her. And I think alongside that, the lovely goal attack sweep from Steph. And I think they're really unexpecting. So we not sure what to expect, but they always give us a run for our money. So,
Notice a couple of new players, particularly through the mid-court this season. How have you found their impact so far this year?
Really positive. They're a younger age, so we're helping guide them into the team and with our game setups, which they're all across, which is really nice to see. And those partnerships building as the season progresses.
2-0 Monbulk so far. You've already mentioned a couple of players you're looking out for, but is there any other research you've done coming into this game? Because it looks like it should be an interesting one.
It should definitely be an interesting game. I think just making sure we have those in-game conversations as they happen down the court in those partnerships. Obviously, it's hard for me to kind of get the communication across from the other end of the court sometimes. So just encouraging them to have their own conversations and then regrouping at the end. Yeah.
Yep. One of your new recruits, of course, Maddie Warmeyer, who is one of your teammates with North East Blaze. What was the conversation with her and getting her across to Wandin?
I think it was more a conversation she wanted to have with me.
Oh,
about,
really?
Yeah, about wanting to come across. I think she's very much a person who enjoys the relationship she has with her peers, and that really encourages her netball. So I think she knew coming here she'd have a really good time and obviously a positive experience, as well as play good netball.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a good one. We're very pleased to have her. Yeah.
Just a more general question, Ruby. Of course, it is our 20-year anniversary of netball in the Outer East, and I know you played with Wandin for a long time. How important do you think the football-netball connection has been for the Outer East competition?
Super important. Obviously, clubs embrace it differently, but for being at Wandin for probably half of that anniversary, it really makes me feel a little bit old. But I think it really helps the club culture and people wanting to play every Saturday together and the whole experience on the day. So yeah, it's really good.
Yep. Ruby, thank you very much for joining us and good luck for today's game.
Thank you so much.
Our second special guest for this week was Mullett after an incredible 10-goal haul against Monbulk.
Well, I'm joined by Wandin's full forward, Mullett, after another dominant display, another 100-point victory. Must be really happy with the start to season 2025.
Yeah, it's been a great start. The best start since I've been here the last 3 years. And what's really impressive is we're putting teams away now. Where, we'll probably come in at half time and have a good little buffer, but we just struggled to put teams away. And now we're really showing that. And that's probably a sign of just bit of maturity in the group too.
We've noticed a real ruthlessness in some of these performances, really going right to the end of the final side, even though you've got that comfortable margin. Is that maybe stemming a bit off the back of the disappointment of not winning the grand final last year?
Yeah, I think so. That definitely did hurt. But we brought in blokes to the club that build on that. Caden Black, his effort for 120 minutes is elite. And that's why we're in positions like we are now, because the blokes like that are willing to do it for a long time.
Yep. 10 goals for yourself today, mate. You couldn't quite get it done a couple of weeks ago, but you did get it done today. How nervous were you when you hit the 9 goals?
I probably wouldn't have wanted a set shot. So I was happy to go a little cheapy out the back, mate. But our ball movement this year is elite, and I'm lucky I'm getting on the end of a few, mate. Yep,
26 goals for the season. You seem to be going head-to-head with Taylor Gibson. I think got a few today.
Of course he did.
I'm not too sure, but you must be pretty happy with that so far.
Going well. And I mean, I'm playing more forward this year. Obviously getting a little bit older, so I'll try to stay away from the midfield. And as the game gets on and the game opens up a little bit, I reckon I can start cashing in a little bit late in games too. So
we're seeing a couple of the younger guys coming through. We saw Josh Fenix play a couple of weeks ago, and Lockie Alderman, who was super impressive today, 3 goals of his own. How important is it seeing these young guys coming through?
Yeah, it's super important. And our 18s are really strong, which we haven't had for the last few years too. So, and that also brings a layer of training intensity and stuff too, and fighting for spots, which is a sign of a really strong club. Aldous today, he kicked a few today and looked really strong, and he didn't look out of place. So we're in a really good position.
Yep. Got Emerald coming up next week, mate. Have you done much research on their game, and how are you going to go into that one?
No, not a lot. We'll do that later on in the week. But our main message is if we play our way and our brand, we should be strong enough. So we'll focus on ourselves a lot this week.
Our first in-studio guest for this week is Woori Yallock's Hunter Ryan. He is our first young gun. We're starting a little bit of a series. We're going to have some incredible up-and-coming players across the next sort of 6 weeks. Super excited to talk to some young standouts across our competition. But first and foremost, it's Hunter Ryan.
Hunter, thank you for joining us in the studio today, mate. We really appreciate you giving us the time out of your busy schedule to have a chat with us. The first question we wanted to ask was, last year you played a mix of under-16s and under-18s, with this being your first season in the seniors. How have you settled in?
I've settled in quite well. It's obviously the changeover is pretty difficult and pretty challenging for a lot of young players going up into, especially like being Premier Division, playing against sides like Wandin, Hillsville, and other talent clubs who are, always up for a fight and up for a big challenge. But I've settled in quite well first 3 games, so I think I've been, up to the task for it. And especially Woori's been such a great help with that transition over from junior footy, because I've been there through my whole career, so I've always been by my side through that.
Yep. Can you tell us some of your mentors at Woori Yallock?
Yeah, being at Woori Yallock, it's such a rich and proud club. Like there's a lot of people there, but from a playing group side, I think players like Benny Munkors, Cody Basoli, Geordie Williams, and I can name 10 more that have been not only through like the transition over from juniors, but since like when maybe Dad was coaching, like they've always been behind me and always there to teach me new things. And from an off-field side, like Brendan Donovan, Dad, Max McGrath and like Dale Spencer have always been there for me and have been instrumental for my development.
Yep. Playing primarily off the halfback flank of the seniors, how do you find that role within the team?
Yeah, it's a very giving role considering like you've got a lot of license to do a lot of things, like you're able to run wherever you can to get the footy and able to like do a lot in defence. And yeah, it's a new position for me because I'm more up the ground through my whole junior career. So yeah, it was difficult at the start, but like I've settled in quite well to it. Like, and the senior boys have been backing me the whole way, and that's like the best thing in the world I can ask for.
How do you manage your workload when you're playing seniors at Woori as well as being part of the Eastern Rangers as well as the Vic Metro squad?
Yeah, I think there's no easy way to being like managing the workload. Obviously, like being playing footy and having a lot of commits with the footy, and then outside of football, you got school and everything. Like I'm in year 11 this year, going through VCE. But I think the most important thing is probably just finding the time to separate yourself from it. Like I like to do a lot of things like outside of football, like going for walks, going for runs, everything, hanging out with mates and everything. And yeah, and that's how I manage my workload, because the best thing to do it from it is just get outside from it and not think too much about it.
With all the above in mind, tell us a bit about what a typical week looks like for you from a footy point of view at the moment.
So yeah, my typical week looks like on a Monday I'd be at Eastern for a recovery night from a game day on a Saturday, and then Tuesday we'd have the main training here at Eastern, and then on Thursday if I'm in the squad for Eastern, I'd be back here training for a captain's run, or I'd be up at Woori and yeah, playing for Woori that weekend.
Yep. Your family obviously has a rich history with Woori, Yallock. Was there ever any question when you started playing that that's where you wanted to be and where you would play locally?
Absolutely not. I think from a very young age, it was like, I know it sounds cliche, but like it's an honour to put on the jumper, and like I've loved every minute at Woori, and like with Dad playing there, it was such a thrill to be playing there, and hopefully, and like I always had in mind that I would be playing with Dad, not knowing how old he was at the time, but yeah, it was always where I wanted to play. And like I went to school in Mullett and everything, so a lot of my mates like played out down the line and everything, but you know, I was always happy to make new friends up here and like play through my entire junior career at Woori.
Yep. What are some goals for your own games? Is there anything that you want to master or improve on?
Yeah, there's always things you want to improve on in your footy, and that's how I find the enjoyment in football. Like I think for me, it's more of a contested game. So like getting around the ball, because for players who played on me and players who I've played with, they probably know that I'm a very outside player, and that's where my danger lies. And yeah, it's just like I think my contested, but other than that, like I'm always trying to find new things in my game that I can find and improve on and finer.
Long term, what's the ideal outcome? Is it to play AFL level?
Yeah, absolutely. The dream is always to play AFL, but I think, and the ideal outcome, but really the goal is to just like play as high level as I possibly can, because AFL obviously isn't for everyone, and like you've always got to have a backup option. So whether the goal is to play the highest level, whether it's at AFL or whether that's on a VFL or other state league programs, or even just play a successful local career. I think that's the goal. And like, because I want to look back on when it's all said and done in my career, I can look back and say, yeah, I'm proud of what I did, and yeah, I'm happy with how it outcome.
Yep. Hunter, thank you very much for joining us in the studio, mate.
Thank you so much.
Good luck for the season and the career ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Aidan. Cheers.
Our second in-studio guest for this week is the umpiring duo of Georgia and Taylah Preistley. Well, Georgia and Taylah, thank you for joining us in the studio today as a part of our Community Umpiring Week. The first question we wanted to ask, as junior coaches, what are the key messages for the junior group at training? What are the key skills focused on?
I reckon for our junior group, we're solely focused on them actually having fun and enjoying it, because retention is a huge issue in umpiring. So yeah, that's probably our main thing, making them actually want to come to training and wanting to learn about umpiring. So
yeah, I'd say probably the same thing. We do kind of have a few focuses each week. Like this week we focused on a bit of dangerous tackles, and then I think next week we're probably going to go with holding the ball and things like that. But we just kind of see what's happened on the weekend, and if they have anything that they want to chat about that's happened in the games, then we'll focus on that.
As female umpire liaisons, can you explain what the role is in the engagement within the group?
Our job as female liaisons is to basically just be like a point of contact and someone that any of our, like even our younger umpires, but particularly our females in particular, to go to if they have any problems or issues, particularly if they don't feel comfortable in a very like male-dominated environment, whether that's at training or in the games. And yeah, we've really tried to, like particularly in the juniors, we've created this whole group of our female umpires, and they all just get along so well.
They're all besties.
They are. And yeah, we've done things like we did a mini golf day at the start of the year. Last year we did a movie night, and we're going to do the same thing again this year. So just to bring all of our females together to create a more supportive environment.
What does Community Umpiring Week mean to you girls? How are you celebrating the week?
I would say I don't think I'd probably celebrate it. It's just kind of a regular week for us. It's nice to be acknowledged as umpires, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's just a regular week for us. We do, at senior training, we do have some AFL umpires and State League umpires coming down, which is really cool. So hopefully we get to learn lots of them.
Georgia, you undertook the Umpirewood course. What did that look like and what did you learn?
Well, it was like a 2-day course over Saturday and Sunday, like a month and a bit ago. There was umpires from all across Australia there. Specifically, it was a coaching course. So we were able to learn like a whole lot of different skills that you don't really get at the community level. So just down to like how to speak to people, how different umpires learn, because everyone learns differently. I got to learn off so many umpires and learn about how AFL is actually different in other states. Like, you know, Queensland, it's really, there's not that much AFL. It's all rugby. So it was nice to get a different perspective on it all. But yeah, I learned heaps and I've hopefully started to implement lots of that and What
are the two of your own personal goals for umpiring?
I would say in the beginning it was potentially make a state league level, but now it's kind of just continue to be involved and get like more females involved and create an environment in the juniors especially, to be able to have, like, even at training last night we had so many juniors asking questions. Awesome. It was the most we'd had in ages, and it was so lovely to see that many people interested in umpiring.
Yeah, at the beginning of umpiring, once you sort of get the vision of, I want to make the AFL or the VFL, or you want to take it further, I think for me it's sort of worn off a little bit, particularly going into like coaching, because I love seeing particularly our juniors. You watch them from game 1 to game 5 and the improvement they make is so amazing to watch. I love that side of it now. So I think that's probably what I want to focus on. So,
how much do you feel like the female participation in umpiring has improved in outer east and just overall in AFL and Australian rules football?
It's improved heaps. Like just at outer east alone, I think when I started, I was one of three females. And now I reckon we have
about over 20
registered, which is amazing. So again, most of that's in our juniors as well. So we'd love to push some of those up to going into seniors. So yeah.
Unfortunately, they're all really good footballers too.
Yeah, so, that's also the problem.
You're also really good at umpiring. That's okay.
Girls, is there any messages you'd like to give out to all the people watching the show tonight?
So there we go. First thing, we actually have a family night on Monday, and we would love if even just, you don't have to register to umpire, but you could even just come down, check it out, meet a whole lot of new people. Umpiring is a great way to earn pocket money for those young ones out there who can't actually get a proper job. You will get fit. Your football will improve because you know the rules to a deeper level. But most of all, you will have fun. So
great way to stay fit as well.
Exactly. Yep. Very good way to stay fit.
Yeah. Come down to senior training too, which is on a Wednesday at Chandler Reserve. So
yeah, come check it out. We hope to see you there.
Don't forget as well, make sure you tune in next week for more fantasy football and netball. Steph and I will be picking our half-forward lines for our women's and men's football sides and our goal attack for our netball sides. Well, that pretty much wraps up all there is to talk about on the Pedders Suspension and Breaks Outer East Football Netball Show this week. Remember, if there's anything you'd like to see in the show, make sure you leave a comment down below. Steph, thank you again for joining me in the studio.
No worries at all.
For all the viewers out there, don't forget to get your game face on.